Okay, let's start. Okay, this is not a bottle, but this is the real Athashri, Athashri where we live, where we have chosen to live. And uh, the photographs I said, the video was taken a couple of years ago, and the music I have added. It is Anand Shankar's. I've just uh, added that on to the video clip. Now we have with us Mr. Omar, the the person who has designed this building, and a lot of us would want to know many things from him uh, about the design of the building itself. The format of this program would be uh, that Mr. Nisar would make a presentation, will talk to us, and then we will set up a conversation where I would request two of our members, Mr. Chandran and Mr. Lavkare, to start the conversation with him. And they will converse, they will have questions to ask, they will have some comments to make, and after that, we will all join. So all of us will be free to join the conversation. I'll also, Shuklendu has just come in, I'll ask him also to join the conversation. So we'll have Mr. Omar, Shuklendu, Mr. Lavkare, and Mr. Chandran in conversation for some time, and then all of us will join. Okay? Go ahead, Mr. Nisar. It's all yours. And thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, very much. Very well.
Okay. First of all, my pranam, my good evening to everybody. It's such a pleasure that you have invited me. And to tell you frankly, the day I met you at the lobby, and in a very, very, very careful way, I asked, "How do you like it?" Without telling you that I am the designer. And I think that is the day I realized my full fees. I did not know that this design has impacted you all so much. You love this place as much as I love to design it. And I must take here the opportunity to also thank the client for asking me to do this job, the Paranj Pesky and Mr. Shuklendu, Mr. Shashank have been very active, and they have been involved in evolving the design standards at this place. And they invited me to Pune to see one of the projects that they have done in a very similar way. I think a couple of facilities they have done. They've done a good job. I think both of them were, simultaneously or one after another maiden projects and very successful. So I studied one of their facilities which they had already created, and then of course when you do something next and next, there is always a chance to innovate, to fine tune it. So we did a lot of fine tuning here with the help of the client, plus with our own acumen or study. So how do we really begin with conceiving the design? Is first we study the site conditions, the environment, the climate at the macro level and the micro level. Like for instance, we had to study, what Bangalore is all about, what is kind of weathers we have. And I'm basically a Bombayite. I migrated in 79. And I find two things. My wife is from Bangalore, and I find two things here, which I always talk about with her, is the people of Bangalore and climate. They change anytime. You don't know when it is going to be raining or it's going to be hot, or suddenly you're going to have a lovely weather. So it has this variations. Maybe you might have also experienced this. I don't know how many of you are from Karnataka originally, but I am a Bombayite. But now I should not say that, because I've been here now for 40 years practicing, and this city has given me a lot to cherish. A wife and lovely children and their education and their upbringing, And we have enjoyed the city. I came in 79, it was something else at that time. But it gave me an opportunity to do real architecture here, because in Bombay, I would have probably, age of 50, I would have got to, got a building to design. Otherwise, I would have made a lot of money in the interiors. Anyway, so what we do is we go about studying the climate of the place and the surrounding of the site. And then we start, looking at the site very seriously, because many a time the site itself gives you a hint, how to how to go about it. And in the process, I mean, one thing I have learned, that you need to respect the site, because it tells you what it has already, the feature that it already has. And many a time the site tells you that not to disturb it. If the water is flowing in one direction, I mean, let it flow. Let it flow, tame it, because it has got a right to flow. So some sensitivity like this, which I have developed in my work, which I try to apply, however the small or the big the project is. And then we came down to the brass tags, and then with the clients, I got the feedback as to, what age group are you talking about here, and what kind of. One thing was very clear, which I must tell you, which with no offense, that we would not ever refer to this as old age home. We call this as a senior citizen. And then Mr. Shashank educated me that what kind of people could be occupying here. And then that made me a little more extra careful, that I'm going to be catering this design. I'm going to be designing this for people who are educated, who have retired as CEOs and MDs and and whatnot, and they are going to come here and live here by choice, because they want that dignity in the, what you call, in the new innings of life. So I had to be very sensitive to that aspiration. Then what happens is we started studying the study of the physical changes, physical challenges of the site, and the physical challenges of the users. And then we come at arriving certain standards. And in this case, of course, one thing was very important, was we had to arrive at a space standard which had to be absolutely liberal. That is what I could understand. It has to be, the whole design sort of has to flow. Even if you want to make somebody walk, that walk should be interesting. The person should feel like, I must, walk from this corridor to that corridor, or this block to that block, and I must enjoy that walk. And in the process, I'll get a little bit of shade. I'll get a little bit of sunlight. I'll get a nook, a corner where I would like to maybe, rest for a while. So that physical challenges are, and it helped us, to arrive at the space standards. Then we had to study the whole site at the micro level, and then come down to the nitty-gritties of, how we are going to start, actually get down with the paper and pencil to the designing. And then came how the unit should be, and what size it should be, and how it should be laid out. And it was very obvious that, right from the entrance door, right to your access to your kitchen, to your toilet, to your bedroom, has to sort of, it has to sort of flow uninterrupted. And then, of course, we had standards like, the good wheelchair movement, or, if one is on a walker, or, if one is coming with a couple of shopping bags, and, how wide the door should be, and then how wide should be the bedroom door, how wide should be the toilet door. And the toilet door must be a sliding door with, a viewing little window on it. So this in-depth study of not only, laying out the unit, but what the unit should have, And yes, of course, I mean, also, a little bit of sun deck wherever possible. We try to give a sun deck so you get, the morning sun or the evening sun, or you at least get, to get out of the living room and put a chair and just enjoy the fresh air and privacy. That was at the micro and the macro level study, as I said, bedroom, and then other features which were incorporated as you were experiencing already there is the safety systems, like you have fire alarm system, then you have the smoke detectors, and the grab bar, the sliding shutters, and vision panel, and all wheelchair friendly, and a special shower area so that one can turn around or sit down, and of course a lot of emphasis given to the choice of material. Should be non-skid, easy to maintain, and as the lady mentioned, that, the sizes of the corridor. In fact, the physical model was sort of prepared, and to study how the wheelchair movement would be, and when two wheelchairs are going to pass each other, and a wheelchair and just a person on a walker, or a person just taking a brisk walk, how it should be, how they should not clash, or they should not even have a feeling that somebody is coming and I need to move away in a hurry. So all that was studied, and then we arrived at what should be the width of the corridor. Apart from choosing the material that should be friendly and non-stick. Of course, as you have seen, the handrails, the grab bars have been incorporated. Then also very important thing is we studied the staircase standards, and what is allowed as per the Indian ISI code is you can go up to from 6 inches to 8 inches, but we find that the most friendly riser is 6 inches, and the staircase and the tread width should be at least 11 inches. We try to maintain that, and the width of the staircase. The width of the staircase was also very important, because it's not only for to avoid accident or clash, but it has a feeling of openness when you're communicating from the staircase going up or down, and at the same time it should be encouraging, because whatever maybe depending on the health condition or the ailment, like when I had a severe spinal problem, my doctor told me climb the staircase. I said my bedroom is upstairs. They said no problem, climb the staircase as many times, but then the staircase should be friendly. The material of the staircase, the handrail, the riser, and the tread. So this was also studied in detail. And then of course the elevators, which is again means of communication. We try to incorporate as many with the stretcher elevators. Not only in case of you need to put a stretcher, but now we are facing this pandemic, and then spacious elevators are in thing now, because you need to have social distance, etc., etc. So elevators were also designed so that it is not only friendly for stretchers, but today I think in today's scenario it helps in giving spacious spaces for good distancing. Then other amenities which was also by an experience, Mr. Shashank was also very helpful there, that you must incorporate a pool, a gymnasium, a central kitchen. I mean, I was very surprised that you think this age group is going to use the pool, but you say you will be definitely surprised when you give them a pool, because and today I understand that just walking in the pool is a exercise for it's a very healthy exercise for any age group. So and then he was very, pertinent about, having a gym, and then a central kitchen, and the library, clinic. So all these things was studied, and, I tried to put it. Yes, I advised him that why don't you have a guest room, couple of guest room, in case somebody, children come to visit and they want to just spend a night in that in that atmosphere, give them a chance. I don't know how much it is being used and useful. And the other thing was easy parking. I would definitely like to have a feedback from you how friendly you find parking, because the people at any age have those accidents in reversing, and so I definitely like to, because it will give me a good insight to study if any problem is there with the parking. It is very important because the most accidents happen in the parking lot. You just dash the column or something. Uh, so give me your feedback on that particularly. Then most important thing that we came to the last is the landscape. Now, as we conceive the design of the building, and then the footprint of the building that we arrived at, we wanted to very consciously look at the resultant land, the resultant open space that is open after laying down the building. And believe me, this whole building was designed like a U. All the three blocks were together. But then afterwards, we realized, after putting it down on paper and studying it, we realized that the blocks have to be detached. That is how those two long corridors have come into the design element. Though it does not give us any built-up area or FSI benefit. And believe me, this area of the corridors, it amounted to a huge built-up area for the builder. But to my knowledge, it is not shared in your units. Yeah, Mr. Shashank said, no, no problem. We will don't put these areas in the apartment. Let them have the proper usable built-up area. But those corridors were designed so that there is a communication, and at the same time there is some kind of a forced walking. So make it enjoyable. And that is how these three blocks got separated. And as a result of that, the resultant spaces that came, they automatically by themselves became very interesting. Because in your landscape now, if you realize you've got the walkway, at the same time you've got suddenly a small nook, a small corner where one just want to sit by oneself and just think, ponder, read, or meditate. Then you have got larger open spaces where you want to interact, and you have got even a larger space where you want to walk and you want to have a good lap. So these became the resultant spaces which surprised us also. And then we had a very good consultant, landscape consultant. I think they were Pune based, and they took a lot of interest. And I think I was pleasantly surprised. The landscape has taken such a nice grip, and it's had so many flowers, and it is green. Maybe this time the rain has also been abundant, but I'm sure all around the year you people probably maintain it. And I think that is one thing which impressed me a lot, that it was certain areas were accidental. They just happened, and they just came into being as we were designing. There was many a times not even a conscious effort, but those became such nice spaces. Like even in you have little books there, and you have it's that corner is so nice. I mean, I was just, and you don't need any artificial light there during the day. And it's one to sit and read. And I saw a couple of people there sitting. I saw a couple of people walking. I spoke to one lady again with a lot of care. Madam, how do you like it? I said, I love it. We are very happy here. And I did not introduce myself to her till I came in the lobby and I saw Mr. Raja sitting, and I was a little concerned whether I should ask a question like this or not. But I was pleasantly surprised. And as I said, that's the day I really got my fees. So that was about the spread out of the structures, gives us an ambience. And then what happened is, it got an ambience of, a nice residential warm place. And it also resembles a resort. I don't want to mention that word as a resort because then that commercial angle and all that comes into the picture. But it has a feeling that you are in a special structure because of the landscape around and the big spaces. Then we also played with the colors. I didn't want it to be just white. I wanted to make it a little playful, a little cheerful. So different blocks, I, I chose different soft colors, but very pastel colors. But I wanted to break that monotony and not make it look like one institutional building. So that was one thing, one effort that we made there to break the monotony. Then other small safety things like the grill and the height of the parapets. Then, as I said, the non-skid material. And so, anytime you people are ready to repaint the building, please involve me. I would love to give you another color scheme, which make you feel you are in a different ambient altogether. And as I said, I must thank my team. I invited Mr. Nagaraj Rao. I'm sure he's there. I hope he's there. And one of my colleagues, Mr. Ramesh, who was there most of the time with Mr. Shuklendu, anytime, anything required. And you all know that the project also, got prolonged for, various reasons. And I must mention here the effort of Mr. Shuklendu. He did not go to the BBMP as many times as many times he had to go to the court, and he really put in his best effort, and I think you see the result. Then Mr. Ramesh and Mr.
Hello, sir.
Nagaraj Rao, yeah, Mr. Nagaraj Rao, I'm sure is there, a very senior and a very dear friend of mine. We have done many buildings together, and he has, and I am glad that I had him teamed up with my team, because he has got an eye for detail, And when I gave him a drawing, there is no deviation from there. He'll make every effort to execute it in the spirit it is drawn. In fact, I have learned a lot from him. So if he's there, I think I'm sure you would like to, hear a couple of words from him. And he is a very highly acclaimed contractor. But more than that, I find he is also a philosopher. So you must hear a few words from him. Now, this is from me. Once again, my pranam to you all. I'm really honored. And anytime, you don't have to contact Shuklendu. If there is anything I can do for you, anytime you want me to come visit, I am there available. I want to ask one question. When this madam was talking about an accident, I want to know where it happened. Did it happen in the complex? In which area it happened? Is there a problem in that area that this gentleman fell down? Or what is it? I mean, is there anything that I
It,
can help to
it happened in
improve
the
that?
canteen.
Okay.
Sir, you don't know what you're in for when you say, "Can I do something to help?" We're
No,
waiting for someone to tell us that. We are planning some repairs, etc. So maybe you will find some of us sitting in your office on Monday or Tuesday.
no problem. Don't take trouble.
Yes, there are certain design problems that we would like to discuss, and then there are, of course, engineering problems of execution,
Mhm.
but we would much rather focus on the design aspect.
No problem.
And secondly, before we start the painting, uh, we hope you will move in. You will buy a flat here,
Yes, yes.
Praise her. Why
so
not?
that so
I
that
am,
you will
I
be
am
one of us.
now.
Well,
I am now.
let me request Shuklendu to come in. Shuklendu is here. Shuklendu,
Yes, sir. Can
uh,
you hear me?
yeah, I would like to spotlight you.
And can you put on your video, Shuklendu?
Yeah.
We'd like
Well,
to
I've
see you.
been trying to. I don't know. Something has gone wrong with the.
Oh,
No,
okay.
just
Okay.
switch on your video. I can hear you,
Yeah, I've
but
been trying to.
yeah.
Okay.
Start. Okay, yes, I have tried. I think it should start.
So if Shukledu,
Right hand top corner is video.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've put it on.
yeah, Shukledu,
it's not coming on, Suklendu.
I can't
No,
see
madam,
you.
it's not starting.
It's
I've
okay.
tried.
Maybe we could just go on. You could.
Yeah, please. Tell
Okay.
me.
Yeah.
We can
Yeah.
hear you.
You can join the discussion. Now let me bring in Chandran and Lavkare. Uh,
Yes, sir.
and where is Chandran? Yeah, Chandran is also here. And of course, I want Mr. Nisar to be here. Center stage, don't go away. And as soon as Shuklendu gets his video all right, I want Shuklendu also to be in. Right, now Chandran and Lavkare. Chandran, would you like to start? Yeah, Chandran. Can you? Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. Nizar, let me first thank you and congratulate you for an excellent design you have given us, especially for the old people in Canada. Now, this I have seen a number of senior citizens' homes, but nowhere this kind of what you call airy and wide corridors, etc., for walking. Even during the worst rains, we need not go out, but just walk in the corridor. All said that, there are so many people to ask you questions. I have a few concerns which I would like to raise. One, this building is built on a lake bed, and it is at a very low level. And all the rainwaters from everywhere comes into our building. And sometimes our basement gets flooded. Do you feel there will be any structural damage due to this location of the building? In other words, will it sink in due course of time?
No, sir, that would not happen because the new building, what we call is, it settles initially. And when it settles unequally, then you have a lot of cracks appearing. Structural cracks you would have seen very evident in the structure. Now we don't see anything of that kind. But structurally, nothing will happen to your building. That is for sure.
Okay.
And also, let me tell you that your parking area is not a pure basement. The geography of the land was such that it is almost like a stilt, but we got it passed as a basement. So we have not done a basement there at all. Almost flat, you may have a basement there. But yours is, it's like technically it is on the, it's a stilt. And I would definitely like to see this flooding problem. Maybe if we can improve the drainage there and have a collection tank, let it out. Because yes, it is low lying. Because the road in the front is higher, the contour it is low lying. But I had not, it was not to my knowledge that it has happened. We could definitely inspect one day. And see
As a
what
matter of fact, last year, our compound wall was fell down because of the floods. So that's the concern which we all have, that
is the front compound wall or the rear wall?
the backside compound wall.
Okay.
So it gave way because of the flood waters. Now we have done some band-aid repairs. But we would like to have your views on that. How to protect the building in the long run.
We could have a meeting one day when Mr. Shuklendu can arrange. I can also have a structural consultant coming in, and we will also get the plumbing and the drainage. We'll have the whole team coming in if Mr. Shuklendu can arrange. I am available.
And also the lowest point has got all our transformers and the electrical equipments and even the generator. So
Yeah.
that is the lowest point where all the water and everything collects. So that is also quite dangerous.
But no, that should be the point of concern, I'm sure. It was not to my knowledge, but we should look into it. We can see it as a team.
The second thing I would like to have from you is, for such a huge building, the canteen is located in one corner. As a matter of fact, my flat is diagonally opposite to that. So for having lunch for an old man to walk all the way to get it is more difficult. So why you didn't think of a corridor connecting these two so that people can walk across?
This is a common concern, and Chandran is representing the views of many other members here. You know, per person
I
living
understand.
in his wing has to walk a long way right up to the other end to go to the canteen. Now, there have been suggestions that we have some kind of a corridor connecting one end to the other. It may not be aesthetically all right. That's where I was asking, does form is form more important than function?
See,
Because
any
functionally-
corridor has to go over that lawn.
Yeah, it may not look
That
very
will
nice,
spoil
but
the beauty. That will spoil the beauty. And
No, it can be thought and aesthetically done so that it integrates with the landscape.
that would be
Okay,
great. And if there's
okay.
something which
Can I put in a word here, sir? We did think of, I mean, somebody suggested that we could take it behind the lawn, from either the basement or the ground floor, or hopefully the basement, and just connect it to the basement car park near the canteen. That was a suggestion given by one of our team members. So if you think that's worth looking into.
Look into it. And
I think
Yeah.
if it is feasible,
Yeah.
without disturbing the overall design structure
Yeah.
of the building, then I think it's something which we should really look at. But we
Yeah,
by
yeah.
ourselves, we don't want to take any decision on this because we are not architects, we are not designers, and
No,
we would
no
like
No,
it
no,
to be
no,
done.
that's why we're asking him to
So
come
we would
over.
like to
if
it to be
if you find
within
it
the
is
overall
going to be
structure, design structure.
if you find
May I come in
if you
here?
think it is going to
Who is
be a
it?
convenient aesthetically, we will take care of it. Don't worry.
Who is
No,
it?
can I come in here? Just a minute. Can I come in here?
Who is it?
Murthy.
Please come in. Please come in. Yeah.
Now, while Mr. Nisar, thank you so much for giving us a wonderful building and a wonderful design. Now, the suggestion of building a connecting pathway between the two blocks to go to the canteen, kindly ensure it doesn't spoil the existing architectural beauty.
Exactly. That's what
I am one of those, because this was a hotly discussed topic among ourselves. I was one of those
Quite right.
people who were loyal to the existing architectural beauty. I feel interfering with this, connecting with a bridge, steel bridge or something, it will become it will not blend with your concept of this beautiful building.
You can make it.
So kindly keep that in mind whenever you are considering this.
Certainly, I'm
Okay.
glad you got
Yeah.
involved at the right time.
Yeah, please.
You find your connection convenient, aesthetically leave it to
Yes.
me.
Yes.
Okay. 1 second. I requested
Absolutely.
Mr. Lavkare to come into the conversation, and I'm not giving
No.
him a chance even to speak.
I
Please
have
come in.
got two more points, Mr.
Okay.
Raja.
Yeah.
Such a-
After that, we'll go to Lavkare. Yeah.
Yeah. See, the next point, Mr. Nizar, is all the people here are all Wi-Fi addicts. We use either tablet or laptop or anything everywhere. But one of the problems we face is we have all the walls are concrete walls. Even the non-load bearing walls are concrete. When there is the between the rooms, the Wi-Fi is obstructed. With the result, the Wi-Fi becomes weaker when I use the laptop in my bedroom. So this is something which you can have in mind when you design phase 2, where we can think of like Canada, where they use partitions, which will be which allows the Wi-Fi to penetrate. That's one suggestion I thought.
Sure, sir.
Right,
And
just Shuklendu wants to respond.
Okay.
Shuklendu, please come in.
Yeah, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, very well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. When we are talking about the connectivity, the only matter that comes into my mind is the cost factor, which you all have to consider, because it's going to be a vast cost of connecting those two buildings.
Yeah, we have to consider the cost factor also.
Yeah, because if you are going to do it in concrete, it's going to be very costly at every level or whatever you're planning.
Mm.
But it will really help that block of people. I mean, they're all finding it very difficult, especially during the rains, to walk all over. And, you know, some of the residents have said, especially when they're doing a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's difficult. So you'll have, please think of something for us. Yes.
I have no objection, madam. It is your project, definitely. So you can just go ahead. I was just suggesting that a very heavy cost will be involved in all this.
I hope you will absorb it in phase 2.
I hope we're not talking about changes in phase 1. Are we talking about phase 2 or
Sorry?
changes in phase 1 itself?
No,
When
I'm
we
talking
talk
about
about
the
this
suggestion
Wi-Fi
that you have done.
connectivity, yes.
So the last point I have, Mr. Nizari,
Yes, sir.
we got this, you have to understand the average age is between 80 and 85. So when you park and reverse, the space between the pillars must be sufficient enough. Otherwise, we have a tendency to go and bang the pillar. So in many, excepting a few, I was lucky because I came very early. I picked up a very good wide parking lot. But others have a problem in a narrow place, and that too to reverse and park and all. And the old man is not fit for that. It is good for young people. So
So
that
I know, as I mentioned it, that it is one of my concerns. We must have a feedback on that.
yeah, that is.
So,
I have no problem, but most of the people have problems because it is narrow and the pillars are too close.
some places, yes, structurally
Okay.
you can't avoid.
You can't avoid it.
Yeah.
Okay, before anyone else speaks, Mr. Lavkare, please come in. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Please unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Unmute.
He is unmuted.
Unmute.
Sir, your volume is down, sir.
No, unmute. He is muted.
Now he's muted. Can you unmute? Sir, can you unmute?
Now it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Louder. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
No, it's not unmuted.
Shiva, can you ask Divakar to run up?
Can't hear
I'll tell
you.
him.
Can't hear you.
Sure. Okay. I'll send somebody.
Okay. Then I think till he comes back. Shuklendu, you wanted to say something?
I have a question like
Who-
regarding the fire
Yeah.
tender
Is that
accessibility.
Debashish?
There is
Yeah.
no fire tender
Yeah.
accessibility. Yeah, Debashish Mukherjee. I have seen that if there is in case of a fire, the fire brigade truck can go up to the generator place. That's all. I mean, half of the building is not accessible to any fire brigade vehicle. And also I have seen that the fire hose are only in the first floor and third floor. So two of the floors, they don't have any fire pipes. So in case of a fire, the second floor and ground floor and first floor is not having any ground, and second not having any fire hoses. So that is very dangerous.
No. Okay.
I'm not able to.
Hello, is it audible?
Yeah,
He
yeah,
has a
yeah, we can
problem
hear you.
with the volume.
Is it audible?
No,
Yeah.
it is not audible.
No, Lakure is talking,
Hello.
but we can't hear him. Now, Mr. Nisar, Nagaraj
sir.
Rao is here.
Yeah,
Nagaraj Rao is here. Could I request him to say something?
please. Yes, yes. Why not?
Because he's also been associated with the construction of the building. Mr. Rao, welcome.
Yeah, I'm here.
Welcome, welcome.
Hello, sir. Good evening, sir.
Please join in. Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
are you
we are,
hearing me?
yeah,
Yes.
we are waiting to hear you.
Okay, my voice is little louder. You have to
We
put
can
on with
hear.
that.
We can hear. Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, fine.
is coming here. Tell them.
Yeah, what? What?
And then we'll
Somebody
finish
has
this,
already
we'll
started
finish
talking.
this and then Lakure can join. Yes, Mr. Rao.
Good evening to everybody.
Good evening. Good evening.
I'm really honored, and I'm respected more than what I deserve to be respected.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And the biggest thing in my life is getting associated with the great architects like, and one of the architects is Mr. Omar Nisar, with whom we have worked on many projects. And every project is the best, and each one is better than the other one. And I'm so blessed that I got an opportunity to get associated with such architects. And this is a company of almost 50 years of standing. And it's very rare to get a continuity of relationship with architects and with the clients. Again, I would like to impress on that how fortunate I am. When I started my career in a very humble way, I never knew that I would meet all these stalwarts and get an opportunity to serve them and work them. The clients are always, they come forward with a lot of aspirations, and it is the creation of an architect. There is no supervision for an architect's work. It is creation, and we have to bring all that into a reality. And it's very difficult, and it's not a noble profession. Running a construction company is not a noble profession. To the best of my knowledge, I made it noble. At every stage, I went on impressing the architects and the clients, and not even one for my 50 years of service in the line. I'm 76 years old, still active in the line. I'm 76 years old, and still I continue to work with all the architects because somewhere they want me there. That is the biggest asset which I am carrying. I'm not a moneyed contractor. We are civil engineers and contractors with a lot of conviction and clarity. And when
Okay. So can you tell us something about your involvement in Athashri?
yeah, particularly when I met Mr. Paranjapai and Mr. Omar Nisar, the confidence they had in me, I was able to deliver the goods. And today I'm so happy. I never expected I'll be invited to speak, even whatever little I have spoken now. And I'm a best to everybody, and we are always available, and we are never one-time contractors for any client.
Thank
or
you.
for an architect.
Yeah.
So I only my best wishes, and I look forward to serve every one of you in the whatever way I can be
Thank you.
with my the balance lifespan.
Thank you.
My sincere thanks to everyone.
Thank you very much. Now is Mr. Lavkare
Yeah,
ready?
I'm with Murthy now.
Yeah,
So can
Yeah.
you connect me with Murthy?
Yes, yes.
No, no, so you can talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Talk.
Uh,
Yeah,
Mr.
please.
Nisar, first of all, thank you. I'm coming from Forest Trail, Pune, where
Yes.
I had a flat, and I was so disappointed with the place that coming to Athashri, Bangalore was really a heaven compared to that. The place I don't know whether you're involved with that Forest Trail, but it's like a prison. Two towers and corridors with windows on each side and opening up prison rooms. Anyway, that's gone.
Yes.
What I was thinking is, after having given us such a lovely place, can we think of some improvements? We always say we want more. One of the things which I have observed as a problem area is the acoustics. The acoustics in the canteen is very poor. Further, we also have a small community hall where again the acoustics is poor. Now, what can we do to improve the acoustics in those two areas is a question which I wanted to ask you. Number two, one more area which we miss is, at least some of us miss, is an open air cafeteria. There is a space behind our old canteen, behind our canteen and powerhouse. There's a small plot where we can have perhaps some picnic benches and some arrangements for sitting down and having coffee in the open area. This open air cafe is something which I think would be again a unique thing for Athashri. I know there may not be too many people, but there are many people we can use that even as a sitting place for talking. Today we don't have a proper place where we could just sit together and talk. So I think this idea about an open air cafe behind the canteen is something which you could think of. So these are the two areas which are acoustics. Open air canteen is something which I wanted you to think about. Now, in the futuristic, I also want to discuss with Chuklendu about the Wi-Fi connectivity. I do not know what the hotels do. In hotels, each room is given a very good Wi-Fi connectivity. And I find that extremely good. I don't know whether it costs much, but if that kind of a centralized arrangement can be made so that everyone gets a Wi-Fi connection based on what he or she wants. I don't know whether that is possible architecturally, but I'm very much impressed with the hotels, how they can manage in each room, very clear Wi-Fi connection they give, centralized. So these are the 2 or 3 points which I wanted to raise. And the last one is how the phase 2 architecture is going to affect us, both in terms of facilities, amenities, and so on, because we are told some of the facilities and amenities are going to be commonly used. So how is the phase 2 structurally and otherwise going to affect our own environment? Thank you very much once again for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. I think the community hall was not part of the original design. It was an addition which was done later at our request. Uh, but of course, I agree with you that acoustics need a lot of improvement. Uh, and phase 2, there's a lot that I think since Mr. Omar is now working on that, there's a lot that he can tell us about phase 2. But I don't know whether
Phase
time would
two,
permit.
the designs are ready. The concept is already been approved. And certain facilities they already have there, like they've got their own multi-purpose hall. They have their courtyard. I think the only common facility that they are probably going to use is the pool and your dining hall. That is the only thing which is not being duplicated over there.
And the
Because I think this, as I was told, that this has the capacity to cater to that population as well. So when they are ready to implement it, or the presentation drawings are ready, whenever Mr. Shashank and Mr. Chuklendu feels, you can make a presentation to you for you. the drawings. No problem.
Shuklendu?
Am I right, Shuklendu, Mr. Shuklendu?
Yeah, very much, very much.
Yeah, yeah. We can share it. Otherwise, your STP and all that is already designed for the second phase as well. At the time when we did the first phase, that STP is, in fact, it is running to under capacity now.
Yes,
So
yes.
that is sufficient for both the phases.
Yeah,
Yes.
one of the concerns is that the dining hall may not be big enough for accommodating 250 persons catering to, or the recreation room for that matter, or the gym. We don't know. I mean, these are issues which,
Certain facilities will overlap, and then
right. Any other issues, any comments? One thing that I, uh, as an owner, have been facing, and I'm sure people on this side of the building face, is that we get much less sunlight than people who have flats on the other side. Much less sunlight. In fact, the rooms are dark uh, than the other wing. How there's nothing that can be done about it now. But how did it come about? I mean, how is it that?
So
what
those are the limitations of the plot and the size and the direction of the plot.
sun rises in the east and goes down on the west. And in winter, it tilts a little bit towards north, towards south. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. But
That is the problem when you're developing a building and not a single house. In a single house, you can look at all these aspects.
Because in Bangalore, my bedroom where I'm sitting, it's winter throughout the year. We hardly get any sunlight or.
I know it does happen. Yes, all the units do not get that advantage.
Yeah.
But I
Sir, can
think
I
my
come in
staff.
here?
Yeah, sure.
Sir, this is the problem when you're developing a big building, you have to compromise somewhere or the other. In an independent house, you can look at all the directions, sunlight, and all those factors. And depending on the size of the plot, the what you say, direction of sun coming up and going down, all that affects the sunlight.
Yeah. But
Some portion will get sunlight, some portion will not get the sun.
yeah.
Can't help it.
But pricing does not take this into account.
No, pricing doesn't take because cement and concrete is the
No,
same for
the
all.
price per square foot is the same. Cost per square foot.
No, sir. Now
The
the
other
Vastu
thing about
the price.
Lahukar's point of acoustics, I think the best way and the easiest and the cheapest way of improving the acoustics is to put some curtains.
Curtains, did you say?
You see, here is the response from someone who's an expert in this area, Chandy John, one of our owners.
Yeah.
He says one can use Wi-Fi extenders, which are not very expensive and can be installed by yourself without any professional help. Now that's the
Well,
answer.
you can do it independently also, and there are some new ones where you can do it for the entire building and have a connection in each house to improve the Wi-Fi.
Yes. I believe Mr. I remember Mr. Ranganathan telling me at one time that he was trying to negotiate with one of the parties for having Wi-Fi, a central Wi-Fi arrangement. But
Yes,
somehow it
I
didn't
think he
go
was
through.
doing it for his building
Yes. For the whole building. Yes.
where he was staying,
Yeah.
Spandana.
Oh, okay.
He wants.
Okay. Any other questions?
You want me to send
Yeah.
send someone to look at the Wi-Fi thing? I can send him.
Sure, please,
Yeah,
please do,
yes.
please do.
Yeah. I think that should be independently examined. But that acoustics, you see, there are professionals who just do this acoustics. The acoustic panels is there. As Suklendu suggested, curtains will help. Also, the carpet helps. But then carpet, the maintenance.
Don't touch it.
Also, the third thing, you see, the people occupying the room also helps in acoustics. These are the factors which are taken into consideration when the acoustically design. But it can be done. Both the areas can be done. And I also, love that idea of outside, like a cafeteria, little extension to your dining.
Yes.
And you all are ready. Maybe I would like to involve a local landscape person who can come and advise on even that connection of the corridor, how it can be integrated with the rest of the landscape, plus the outdoor cafeteria. So, but as Suklendu said, it's going to cost you. I'm not going to scare you at it's going to be a high cost. First, let us see what it entails, what kind of material can be used. That will be realistically estimated. It can be done in concrete, it can be done in steel, it can be done, in many materials, but the cost will come into the picture after we decide what material we use.
I is not coming there. Kishore wants to speak.
Sir, can I just take 2 minutes?
Yeah, Kishore, yes.
So there was one more question about the
yes,
fire thing.
Yes.
Can I come in?
Shuklendu, and then Kishore will come in.
So
Shuklendu.
there was a question about the fire brigade not reaching to the right
Yeah, that's
places.
right. That's right.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's the reason, because we are only ground plus 4, we don't have to have a fire roundabout turning area, but we have made the fire hoses in right places which can reach to the farthest location of the building, right from ground floor to the 3rd floor.
Yeah. In fact, this was not mandatory, but it was. But what you could do is other floors where there is no wet hydrant, you can probably put some dry hydrants.
Yeah, we have to put that, and it is very costly. It will be maybe about 30 lakhs or more.
No, if you do piping and if you want to do wet hydrant with sprinkler and all, it will be costly. Dry
Cost
hydrant,
is about the 4-inch pipes. Yeah, those are all zinc coated pipes, so those are very costly.
yes, I know.
Have to do it. Okay.
Can I come in, Raja?
Yeah, please come in.
Can I come in?
Yes,
Can I come in, please?
Come in, Kishore. Yeah.
This is Kishore here.
Yes, sir.
Very well designed. There are a couple of things which I've been here for a year, and there are a couple of things which I have noted which are necessary, which can be added into the second phase, not as the part of the second phase building. See, one thing we found that during the COVID period and when we get the floods, and we have no space for the service staff. See, we would like at least some people to be accommodated. Absolutely no space for service staff. If I go around, which I have done here in 10 senior citizens home here and at Dehradun, I find a lot of service staff accommodation is provided. Whereas here there's none. We have a nurse here full-time. We have a deputy manager here. There is no space at all. We had to give them the committee room to accommodate them. Now, I would request the architect as well as Shashank and Suklendu to please consider this. The second one is that in every apartment, which now I have seen new ones in Bangalore, they have provided a built-in storage for shoes. It's a customary in India that we leave the shoes outside. We don't want to take them inside. But there are no racks, built-in racks provided, so that everybody has the same racks. But net result is that every one of us tries to put a rack the way we want it, and it doesn't look nice. The next one, which I have seen in many of the senior citizens' homes now, that every senior citizen carries something in the hand. You carry some food stuff from the canteen, bring it. Now, when you reach the door and you want to open the door, where do you keep this? You have to keep it down on the ground. Whereas now, if you look at the modern ones, they have provided a little platform where a person can sit, keep the bag, open the doors, and go in. Now, these are some of the conveniences which have been provided in the latter houses. So I would request the architect, Mr. Suklendu and Sashank. Sashank, of course, went with me to a couple of places where we have seen this, but I would like the architect particularly to
Yes,
go around some of these, like Mantri. There are a number of these have come very well. In Dehradun is a lovely one, which is building one in Delhi also. So let's take good points from there. There's nothing wrong in learning all the time. Life is to learn. And anything which is done well here is being copied by others. Anything which is done elsewhere, I think our architect should be open enough to collect those ideas and enforce in the second phase. Now, these are the things I thought I must say. The other one is that our generator and the transformer, they have no cover on the top. So last 1 year when I have been here, I've been noticing that the fuses go off because the water gets into the panels. And I think it is important now when I go around all over the place, I see the generators and the panel systems are covered with a shade. Now we had to do that in the panel one, just a small amount, but it has helped us a lot in seeing that the power is continuous. Now, can these be taken into account? The next one is that we have no place where we can put the patients for a while. So we have 4 guest rooms. So during the COVID period, we converted one of the guest rooms for COVID. Now, if those can be thought of now between the two, phase 1 and phase 2, that will give us a great help. Thank you so much. This is all what I have to share. Thank you.
Thank you.
well taken. Good point, sir.
Thank
I have noted.
These are suggestions that.
Can I come in now?
Yeah.
Hariharan here.
Yes, please come in, Mr. Hariharan.
Yeah.
Where are you? Let me spot
I am
you.
Hariharan. Yeah, fine. I am Hariharan. I moved in about 3 months back. And good things first, I should say that I find Athashri one of the best places to stay. It has a lot of beauty around it. The landscaping is wonderful. And the ambience is very good. And the quiet atmosphere that's prevailing over here, it is well appreciated. But at the same time, in these 3 months, whatever little I have observed, I would like to tell you, I am not an architect, but I am a mechanical engineer. But a little bit of the shortcomings, what I could see was this. This is not a very senior citizen home. And as somebody said, it's most of the people are very aged. I am myself 83. And I had a fall the moment just about 10 days back. Luckily, nothing happened to me. But then I personally feel that the flooring, the type of flooring that you have given, though it's very, very aesthetic, but it is not extremely suitable for many of the senior citizens. But I've heard from a couple of them that it is quite sort of slippery type thing. Though you have provided the hand railings, you can hold on and walk. But every time that thought doesn't come in, people just move. And what happens is that there's a shaft-like thing where you put the cover at the top. There was some leakage, and the water had come on to near the library, and I am staying very close to that, and that white tile did not give any reflection of the water, and I stepped in and I had to sleep, and so now it's not possible to change the entire flooring, but at least for the future design you can take care of. For a senior citizen hope, you should have to have a little bit more anti-skid flooring. That's a point which I want to tell you, especially in the houses. In my house, I'm in a single room apartment. But the bathroom is extremely slippery, having the same type of flooring. At least the bathroom should have a little bit of anti-skid, the tiles. I do not know whether others may believe with me or not, but it's my personal view. That's all I'm expressing. The second point, what I just would like to tell you is this: that the basement, though it's not called a basement as somebody said, but it is basement for practical purposes. It is flooding all right, and it's having, even after the flooding is removed, now I can see local patches. So that means the sloping on the on the basement is not okay. It can be completely sloped onto one side or sloped on both the sides, and a complete drain should be put around. The drain is also clogged. I could see that. Even yesterday when I went down, I could see that. I have a car parking slot, but I don't have a car. But still, I went down just to have a look around. One thing surprising me was there are quite a few openings right from onto the sky, and the rains can straight away come to the basement. And I do not know the purpose for which such things have been made. There's a long shaft, and then of course between the two buildings, and it's open to the sky completely. And the heavy rains, when they come, they do come to the basement, and that basement gets a little bit more than that may be a part of flooding. There may be other areas of flooding also, and the local subsidence, as I've observed in many places in the basement, and there's a stagnation of water. So probably the basement at least can be attended to, and whether the basement can be, modified or repaired to give a better slope on both sides or one side, drain built up all around, and then put a sump at the end, or one end or two ends, put a pump and pump it out. Because there are, of course, you are connecting to a stormwater drain. I could see that there's a very small diameter pipe. So it must have a bigger one because the area is too quite big. And so you can put a maybe a 2 meter by 2 meter tank, depth tank, put a vertical immersible pump and pump it out if possible. This is one area probably where you can approach the inside flooring and all. You may not be able to change. That's for your future reference. But as far as the basement is concerned, probably you can think about that investment for providing more sloping. Then so I do not know the purpose for which the opening has been given like that straight away in between to the sky. Normally the basements, whatever I have seen, is the basement is completely, below a concrete roof, and the car parking area or something.
Some problem.
Beg your
Thank you.
pardon? Can you hear me?
No, yeah, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you.
me?
We can hear
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So this is one area. Then I would like myself to be, and near my house. As I come to the corridor, lot of water comes in the corridor also. We have put it near my house. There's a huge, my apartment. There's a very huge opening right from the floor level to the top. The purpose of it, maybe you may say, it's maybe for sunlight to come in and for a cross ventilation. But what is happening when the heavy rain beats the ground floor? That portion, about 10 feet length of water comes stagnates, and it's quite a dangerous place to walk in. Instead of that, that can be covered with a sort of a glass framework and provide two windows, and that will give ventilation as well as a light. So the purpose of giving somewhere a very big opening and somewhere the normal opening is not very clear to me. So these are the 2-3 observations I had.
Thank you.
So those are the 2 points which I would definitely like to
Thank
place
you.
before you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Raja, I have just one point
Yeah.
which I missed. Can you permit me to
Yeah,
speak?
please. Yes.
Okay. Now, the one point I missed, in fact, 2 points. One is that the swimming pool which is there presently is hardly used. So I would request the architect and Sashank and Suklendu to consider to make it covered and heated so that most of us can use it. Two, there's a big nuisance of pigeons. Pigeons keep coming around all over the place. Now, can the architect find a way that pigeons are avoided? Because we have used all kinds of things to see that the pigeons don't create a nuisance. We have put the netting, but the netting breaks. Now, how do we get rid of these? So can you consider these in the second phase and help us that the swimming pool gets covered while the second phase is on and is heated, and the pigeon nuisance taken care of in the second phase as well as in the first phase. Thank you so much.
I think many of the issues raised by Mr. Hariharan and Kishore can be commented upon by Shuklendu also.
No, sir, I will not get into this at all.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think
Okay.
Shukla is correct. We'll have to
Okay.
talk to, so Sean
Okay.
can find out how he can help us.
Okay.
He can forego a few things like a mini golf course and add that money into this and see that we get these benefits.
Okay. There is one query from Mr. Chandy John addressed to Mr. Nisar. He says, could you suggest a good civil engineer to suggest what steps should be taken to permanently stop the leakage in the canteen? It's been a perennial problem ever since we started uh, using the canteen. So, what can we do about it? We can't shift the
I'd like
canteen
to,
now.
I'd like to take a physical inspection sometime because I
Yeah.
don't know the source of this thing. But where the gentleman was mentioning about the shaft being open on top,
Yes.
they were not meant to be open. And you can never admit the direct rainwater into the basement.
Okay.
So I have certain things which I have noticed down that I think they will have a little bit of a maintenance problem there also. Your day-to-day maintenance. I don't know how this complex is being maintained, whether you have in-house maintenance team or you have them on call. But I think if the shafts are open, then obviously direct rainwater coming into the basement, and the basement is also getting flooded because
That's
of.
been happening right from the start.
So you're directly admitting the torrential rain into the basement.
Yes.
Whereas drains have been provided.
Especially not only the shaft, but maybe the shaft at the top, you may be able to cover it with some sort of the glass roofing. I don't like it. Sorry, glass roofing I don't prefer, but it can be covered with some sort of a plastic roof or something like that. But there are other places. There are other places where it cannot be no shaft, but straight away a huge opening right into the basement. At the where that grass is, that lawn is there. Right next to that, there's a very big opening. It's about maybe about 10 feet by 10 feet. It cannot be easily closed, or it can be closed. We can think about it because how much of water goes in through the rains, and the type of rains that we have had this time. It is I mean, anybody's these just to
I think
design.
that can be solved. I don't see a problem.
Maybe, sir, if you would come over sometime, whenever you're free, we could arrange for you to spend a day with us, go around, and we could point out everything to you, and you could give us your suggestions.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, we'd love it if you could also suggest a good, civil person who could take up the repair work.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm sure if Mr. Shuklendu is with me, we can organize a meeting and we can what the problems are. You have got I think you have a maintenance engineer there. I met the gentleman the other day.
Yes.
If
we do have a maintenance team. We do work. I mean, yes, this water part, yes, there is. It is difficult. Maybe we need to do something better. Maybe you could give us some suggestions for that.
But let this gentleman list out all these problems that we have just discussed now.
Sure.
Listed out in different areas. So when we go to the specific areas and sort it out. And I see that require a landscape person to design that, the connectivity, and how aesthetically we can blend it with your present ambience. So I think you need to have a site inspection.
Sure. We'll get in touch with you, sir, so to get your convenient time when we can organize the whole thing. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Through the builders, madam, please, through Mr. Paranchpe, this Paranchpe builders, because I would not independently act on this project.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Told me, in fact, he had mentioned to me long back that when we start the second phase, he said, please redo my lobby. Give me a very nice lobby, again, redesign the interior. I was looking forward to it. So I think at that time, maybe a lot of these things can be taken up because you will have a contractor working there. You will have the team there.
Okay.
Let us see when they intend to start. I think drawings are ready. We're just waiting for.
Okay, so thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much
Okay.
indeed.
Bye.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much. We have already exceeded
Thank
the
you.
time.
Thank
Normally
you.
draw the line at 5:45. So
Thank you, sir.
thank you very much
It's
for
been nice
spending a
to you
lovely
also.
evening with us. May I request Mr. Bharat
Thank
Seturaman, Bharat, to propose a formal vote of thanks. Bharat, please come in.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, thank you. First of all,
Please come
Mr.
in. Let me.
Can you hear me, Mr. Raja?
I'd like to see you.
Yeah, I should be on now. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. First of all, Mr. Nisar, this has just been a wonderful, wonderful evening. You know, where we live obviously has a tremendous bearing on our well-being and almost defines who we are. And as they may have been a long litany of problems listed out, but underneath that, I hope you could pick out that we're all actually very, very happy with it. It's a beautiful place and it's got lovely features. And yes, a few execution details here and they may not be okay, but that can be fixed. But the fundamental design is really very beautiful, and we're grateful to you and your team and inputs from others whom you consulted for all the good work that has gone on here. It was also exciting, I think. You know, I was trying to pin down exactly why I found this evening so charming. And I realize now it's sort of like this. It's like, you know, you've had a life, and for some reason you've never really known what were the antecedents of your family. Where did they come from? You know, what did your grandparents do, etc. And it's like suddenly meeting an older relative who's now giving you the background to your family. Which village did it come from? Why did the people move over here? What were your parents' situations when you were born? That's the same feeling I got, and I realized that's why I really enjoyed this evening. It was like knowing something about your ancestors. So that's the feeling I get. And you know, an architect is like that. You give birth to a whole new life, a whole new community. I think you know, I think you should take a lot of joy in the joy that you've given us through these designs. So thank you very much. It's been a very nice evening. And
very honored.
Yeah, I appreciate it again for all our behalves. You know,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you from all of us at Athashri. So please spend some time with us. Come over and meet us, and let's have your advice more often. Thank you. On that note, let me
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
end this meeting.
Thank you, sir.